Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Aggie News. I'm Kayla Collier.
And I'm Beliana Garland.
One of Crossing's own represented North Carolina A&T at the White House last week. Melvin Harris shares what the Vice President says is a plan to help historically black colleges and universities. Well, I don't know about you, but I would love if a robot could bring me coffee in bed in the morning.
And I know I'm notorious for being left in the rain, so I would love it if it could bring me an umbrella.
I don't know if a robot can, but Grant can tell us what to expect.
Yeah, Kayla, we can kind of expect a similar story as last week, actually. We're kind of having a similar warm-up as the week goes on.
In your mind, trying to figure out the science behind natural hair and how to take care of it, NAPS is here to detangle your thoughts.
Here is Gabrielle Woodard with more about how this student-led organization is proud to bring light to the topic of natural hair.
In Georgia, Senate candidates Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker are heading towards a runoff election. Georgia Aggies can request an absentee ballot by November 28th when early voting begins. Election day is December 6th. Warnock and Walker have continued campaigning, vying to help their party control of the Senate. The Rec Center is still closed. Many students were excited to begin their New Year's resolutions in the gym this semester, but now all that's available are group classes. It closed for renovations and remodeling last November with the hopes of opening in January. Due to supply chain demand delays, it was delayed to Wednesday, February 1st. The day before, they announced on Instagram that the Rec Center will be open for Group X classes. Many students on social media are asking for tuition refunds since they are paying for a resource that is not available to them. The dreary weather in Atlanta last Friday reflected the moods of Migos fans who, despite the rain, stood in line to bid farewell to a man they loved and respected. We are a week away from the Super Bowl, and Super Bowl 57 will be a historic one. Jacoby Swinton has more on what makes this championship game a first. NCA&T are eagerly preparing their resumes and their cover letters for their annual spring career fair this week. But attire is no longer a concern for JOMC students. Sadie Ross reports on how a former professor's legacy provides opportunities for students to come. The Zeta Alpha chapter of the Zeta Phi Beta crowned sophomore liberal studies major Joshua Paris as their new Mr. Zeta Phi Beta. Paris and 6 other Aggies commented in different categories throughout the night, including introductions, questions and answer, and of course, a talent show. Contestants wowed the judges with their skills. Xavier Gatewood's recreation of the iconic drum battle scene in the movie Drumline really got the crowd going. Also representing in the Zeta Phi Beta Royal Court are Keyshawn Johnson as Mr. Blue and White, Gabriel Woodard as Mr. 1920, and Hezekiah Mercer as Mr. Zeta Alpha. Coming up this Thursday, more Motown, the Mu Psi chapter of Omega Psi-Phi, is holding its pageant at 6:30 in Harrison Auditorium. Mr. A&T was impeached.
The Senate voted 32-7 to remove the Mr. from the Royal Court after absences and other contract breaches.
2 weeks earlier, former Mr. Curtis Shannon Jr. took to social media to voice his frustrations with the Royal Court and Student Government Association.
He was open about his struggles with mental health, and at the time, Shannon felt like he was not being supported and was on his way out.
Melvin Harris has the controversy around mental health and Shannon's impeachment. Last Wednesday marked 63 years since 4 A&T freshmen started a movement. Ezell Blair, Joseph McNair, Franklin McCain, and David Richmond refused to leave the Woolworth lunch counter downtown, a white-only restaurant, until they were forced out, beginning the sit-in movement of the 60s. At this year's February 1 breakfast, Chancellor Martin presented the university's human rights medals to attorney Chance D. Lynch, who works on high-profile civil rights cases, and Dr. Sophia U. Noble, who is the founder and director of the UCLA Center and Race of Digital Justice. The legacy and activism remains present. It is an energy that Aggies young and old know. A power outage on campus last week left students wondering how they attend a technical school. Jordan Davis has more on the temporary blackout. NCA&T's theater department is putting on a one-of-a-kind Shakespeare's most famous plays. Rose Gleasonius has more on the story. ChatGPT is a free online tool that creates what you ask. It can write an essay on quantum physics or write a poem about flowers. The software mimics natural conversations. Some people are excited, others are concerned. Jaden James went around A&T's campus to hear student opinions on the technology. Saturday was senior night at Club Corbett as the men's basketball team defeated Hampton University. India Powers has more on the Aggies' big win. Academy Award-winning actor and producer Sterling K. Brown visited Aggieland on Thursday to discuss men's mental health. Brown was one of many guests for the Chancellor Speaker series. Best known for portraying Randall Pearson in NBC's hit show This Is Us, he talked about his own personal experiences with mental health and how his mentality has changed as he grew older.
You sort of evolve into more of who you are. I would say the biggest difference is I'm much more responsive than I am reactive. And it's a subtle distinction in terms of just the way in which you confront the world.
Brown also touched on topics such as race, education, and police brutality, highlighting how all of these things play into Black men's mental stability. Sophomore finance student Chandler James really resonated with Brown's words.
The biggest thing that I took away from that event was just learning how to be vulnerable with other people, and that as males, we grew up in certain situations where we're not really that most like coming forward to other people. So then being able to be very open with other people can help you just achieve more.
To hear more about what Brown had to say, visit ncatregister.com. It is snowing in the City of Angels at just the end of last week. Blizzard warnings were also issued for parts of Los Angeles and Ventura counties. In other parts of California, the National Weather Service in San Diego predicted 3 to 5 feet of snow in the mountains. As Californians were confronted with the snow, we enjoyed days of 75+ degree weather here in North Carolina. But those 75, 80-degree days are gone for now.
Yeah, I guess it's time to pack up those shorts and bring out the sweaters again.
Maybe Grant can give us a little hope for some sunshine.
Coming up, it's Black History Month.
A recap of Black excellence around campus and at the Grammys. 1 week after 3 students were killed and 5 others wounded, students at Michigan State University returned to class on Monday. Funerals for the students began this weekend, and the last funeral is scheduled for Tuesday as family and friends mourn the loss of their loved one. The interim president of MSU says that the university leaders are meeting daily to discuss and find a solution to student needs, searching for a sense of normalcy. Students say a hybrid online option would be a huge relief. They hope the university will take student feedback into consideration as they prepare to return to class. Students say they feel supported by MSU's administration so far, as professors have been asked to modify their deadlines.
We start today's news coverage with a look at young voters and important races this midterm election.
Young voters make up half of the voting population, but are less likely to vote than older Americans. That's according to bestcolleges.org. President Joe Biden took his granddaughter Natalie to vote early in Delaware. It was Natalie's first time voting. Both are seen signing in and giving each other "I voted" stickers when done. If you haven't already gotten your sticker, you still have 1 day left. Our reporters talk to students on campus about why they vote.
And it's that time of year again. New member presentations are this Thursday and Friday, March 2nd and 3rd.
The Greek organizations will present their newest members at 4 p.m. each day. Student tickets are sold out, but general admission tickets can be found on the ticket return website.
We hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Aggie News. I'm Biljana Garland.
And I'm Kayla Collier. We'll see you next week.